These are 50 tips so you can have a perfect trip. What do I know about this? Well, I've traveled over 1 million airline miles and stayed in over 1,000 hotel nights, and so I've learned a thing or two about planning good trips. And in these 50 tips, we're going to start with planning and booking. We're going to walk into preparation and packing. Then we're going to talk about airports and flying. And finally, we're going to talk about some tips to really enjoy the destination, food, and culture while you're at your actual destination. And so my first of 50 tips for you is to research beyond the obvious. When you're planning your trip, don't just stick to the major things. Yes, major things are great. When you go to New York City, you should visit Times Square. When you go to Paris, you should visit the Eiffel Tower, but don't just limit yourself to those things. Try to get off the beaten path a little bit and go to attractions like this. What is this? This is the Lion Head Shrine in Osaka, Japan, known as the Namba Yasaka Shrine. The open mouth of this shrine is believed to swallow evil spirits and bring good luck. But let me tell you, I've been to a lot of Osaka's big attractions, and one of the most memorable for me is actually visiting this shrine right here, which is definitely off the beaten path. Number 2, be flexible with your dates and airports. People often ask, Chris, how can you afford to travel to so many places? And it's simple. We look for the cheapest places to go during the cheapest times of year. If you're traveling over July 4th in the US, or you're going around Christmas time, New Year's, things are going to be expensive. So pick some dates that are less expensive. How do you do that? Well, one of my favorite sites to use is Google Flights. Right here is when I put in, I'm going from Los Angeles to anywhere, and then it brings up a world map of cheap flights. Like, look at that. I can go from Los Angeles to Athens, Greece, $500. Barcelona, $457. So, but boy, if I was going to Cape Town, $939, or some other places, even more. So I'm going to pick the cheap places and the cheap times. Tip number 3 is to understand the visa and the entry requirements of your destination early. Don't get caught off guard. Don't book your flights. Don't make your whole plan and then realize you're not going to be actually able to enter where you're trying to go in the time frame that you have before your flights. Tip number 4 is, when you have decided on a destination, book your flights and accommodation in advance. Especially for peak season. Yes, if you're traveling to Japan for cherry blossoms, you're going to want to get in and book those hotels probably 6 months ahead of time. Usi Girl and I, we generally book our trips out 3 to 4 months in advance, but I'll tell you, we are planning a trip to Japan during a particular festival later this year, and we got our hotels about 5 months ahead of time to make sure we had them. And we didn't book our flights yet, but we booked the hotels to make sure we had the hotels for that critical festival that we want to go to. And now when we recently looked at hotels and hotel prices, since then, they've skyrocketed like 300% from what they were. So going busy times, it's worthwhile to make those cancelable, changeable, refundable hotel reservations, because if you don't like it and you change your mind, you can easily change hotel reservations unless you're booking the ones that are non-refundable. In that case, you shouldn't be booking those unless it's like 3 days ahead of time and you know you're absolutely going. Now, when you are booking the flights, make sure you also looked at the hotel prices too before you book in the flights. Flights are usually the lock-in part where most people are not booking the fully refundable economy tickets because they're really expensive if you do that. So most people are usually booking some airline tickets that have some cancellation type penalties to them. Many airlines will give you like a 24-hour grace period, but after that, they'll often charge you change fees. And so make sure, even if you're like, oh, it's cool, it's $400 to Tokyo, but you're like, man, but the hotels are ridiculously expensive, then you might want to find a better date where the hotels aren't. So I generally like to look at those the same day and make sure that there's at least some good hotels along with the good flights that I stay in to make sure I'm not going to go completely broke on that trip. Tip number 5 is to check destination and events holidays before you go, because if you're going during a local holiday, 1, it could be busy. 2, there could be things that are closed. You're like, why is it so cheap? Well, it turns out when I go to my destination, nothing's going to be open. By the way, this is not a thing when nothing's going to be open, but often people say, like, Chris, I'm going to Washington, D.C., and I'm going in March. Why is it so expensive? Well, because March in Washington, D.C. is the Cherry Blossom Festival, and so that can be really quite expensive. If you're going during cherry blossom time, it can be much cheaper other times of the year. But cherry blossom time, popular time to go. You might want to go for those 2 weeks of the year when the cherry blossoms are in bloom in Washington, D.C. Tip number 6 is to book direct flights or book connections with plenty of time. Chris, the connections are cheaper. They're half the price of the direct flight. Well, know that you just might end up at your connecting airport and not end up at your destination for a long while. Because while you might say, well, the airline needs to rebook me on the next flight, well, next flight might not be for a couple days if there's weather or things like that. So we always book the direct flights if they're available. Why do I show in this picture? Just one of my favorite planes, the A380 from ANA. It's the Flying Honu. It is the flying sea turtle that goes from Tokyo Narita to Honolulu. Twice a day, you can get on the Flying Honu, but I think the paying the price for the direct flight is absolutely worth it for the peace of mind and the higher percentage chance that you're actually gonna get where you're going. Well, and again, there's 50 tips for the, perfect trip. If you like to sleep in airports because you miss your connection, then absolutely book that short connection. And when I say connections with plenty of time, if it's an international connection, you really want to get where you're going, 3 hours is probably a good connection time for a connection you want to be sure that you are going to make. I mean, nothing sure, but if you want to be sure-est that you can make it. Tip number 7 is to plan to arrive at your destination in the daytime. If you're going in the day, just things are easier when you arrive someplace in the day. At nighttime, things are just harder to see. You can't see where things are. Things close at nighttime too. Subways close, transit closes late at night. Sure, the flight's cheaper because it gets there midnight because you have no transportation options left. And you have to end up sleeping at the airport because you can't actually get into the city. So my recommendation, if I can, I really like to arrive at destinations in mid-afternoon. If I can swing it to get there between 2 and 4 p.m., that way by the time I'm getting from the airport to the hotel, it's right about check-in time if I'm trying to plan the perfect trip. My perfect trip is getting from the airport to the hotel during the daytime and arriving at the hotel when it's time to check in and my room is hopefully ready. Tip number 7 for a perfect trip is to learn some basic phrases at the destination. Things like hello, thank you, excuse me, where is the bathroom? Those few phrases will just help you go a long way, and it'll make the locals nicer and more sympathetic to your cause because they know that you're at least trying to meet them halfway. Tip number 9 for a perfect trip is to, in addition to watching YouTube videos and fantastic videos on Yellow Productions, is to get a guidebook. You know what? If you're planning a trip that's hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, multi-thousands of dollars to a destination, don't be cheap on your preparation material. $20 on a guidebook can be money well spent. There is something to be said for having a physical thing in your hand, being able to look at a paper map to just get yourself an understanding around it. When we're going to someplace like Bangkok, I might buy 2 or 3 guidebooks on the place. We're going to the Big Island. I only bought 1 guidebook on the place because there's only 1 really good guidebook on the Big Island of Hawaii. If we're going to Europe, we really enjoy Rick Steves' guidebooks. So those are some you should check out. That is until Yellow Productions releases our own guidebooks. Just focused on the videos right now. Tip number 10 for a perfect trip is to create a loose itinerary. Plan key things, but leave room for spontaneity. This is an example of my loose itinerary for my trip earlier this year to Kuala Lumpur. I'm gonna go ahead and make this one big so you can see it. I generally bin 2 different sets of things that I wanna do in places. I generally bin the major things that I wanna do, and then I generally bin the major things that I want to eat. And I had 5 days, and I didn't really set them up in like, this is what I'm gonna do on the first day, this is what I'm gonna do on the second day. It would just be much more like, as I get up on a day, what's the weather look like, how do I feel? I would look at my list of things and be like, oh, what are the things that I can do today? On Google Maps, I like to set up pins for those things so that as I'm out and about, if there's like a restaurant that I really want to eat at, then I'm like, oh, I'm right near it. Let me go ahead and get there. I feel like if you set up your itinerary so densely packed that everything's to the 5 or 10 minute, you're just going to set yourself up for failure because the weather's going to change, your flight's going to be delayed, something's not going to be open, there's going to be a strike on the transit. So set it up so that you have some room, some flexibility, some time to just enjoy and relax. And if you don't hit everything, it's okay. You'll have hit the top things on your list, but maybe not the tier 2 attractions on your list. All right, now let's go ahead and talk a bit more now that we've like planned the thing and we're gonna go. What are some of the things that we wanna do 30 days or less before we're going? And this is tip number 11, is to print out copies of important documents and your itinerary. Sure, you've got a passport. Make a copy of it, print it with you, have it with you. Have a digital one too, take a picture of it, have it in your Google Drive or wherever you keep digital things or on your phone. But you know what, having a printout of things like your travel insurance, having printouts of your itinerary. Many times I've been in airports connecting onwards from someplace and they've asked me for my itinerary, either when I'm checking in and I'm going someplace or I'm going someplace else. And so it's really helpful to be able to have that just to show whether you're at customs, whether you're at the airport check-in, you don't have to fumble through your phone, you don't have to look it up in your email. Easy thing just to pull out. Tip number 12 is to download offline maps and entertainment. I know these are two things to download, but maps, in this day and age, really helpful to be able to have Google Maps or Apple Maps or something like that to help you navigate. It takes a long time to download the map tiles over slow international networks. So it's really helpful to download the offline map tiles so that if you don't have a great connection, you still have some map functionality. And then 2, if you like to watch movies, you like to listen to music, you like to do that on the plane, you like to do that on the train, download that to your device before you go, and then the day before or even the morning of, check it to make sure that stuff actually still plays. Because how many times, I don't know if you've had this happen to you, I've had it happen to me, where I've downloaded stuff, 6 weeks for some other trip, and I assume it's just on my device, and then when I get on the plane and I'm not connected to the internet, it comes up and says like, oh, all of my content has expired. Connect to the internet to renew your license. That's funny. I'm in the air. There's no internet. Or you might be like, Chris, just connect to the airplane Wi-Fi. I'm over the Pacific Ocean, and this airplane that I'm on doesn't have any satellite internet to go over the ocean. Happens, and then Chris becomes a very bored boy. All right, tip number 13, help you prepare, comes from our sponsor, SimLocal, my new favorite eSIM provider that I've been using for mobile data in many of these destinations I've been going to the last year. It dovetails on Google Maps because really it helps to be able to have international data to connect. So let me share a little bit with you about SimLocal. What I like about SimLocal and getting eSIMs from SimLocal is it's so much easier than taking my phone someplace and having them put in a physical SIM card, going to a store. With SimLocal, you can just come onto their website and you can say where you're going, or you can click where you're going. Let's say you're going to the United Kingdom, then you can browse a bunch of different plans. You can see some of the major UK providers and prices. Here's one for unlimited data and text for $50 for 30 days in the UK on EE. Or we've got other providers down here, 3UK. You can get 100 gigabytes for 30 days for $19, considerably cheaper. What I like about SimLocal is you can pick from these different plans, you can pick from these providers so that you know who you're gonna get. And it's super easy. You just click through a couple times, put in your credit card, they'll send you an email that has a QR code. You then just scan that with your phone, it'll download the eSIM, and then the day that you're going, you toggle that eSIM on, and all of a sudden you have data. I've used it in the UK, I've used it going to Japan, I've got the AU SIMs, like you can get 7 days of unlimited data in Japan for $19. Some of these plans will have phone numbers, some of them won't, so you do need to check. And your phone does need to be unlocked and support eSIMs. I'll show you a list of what phones support eSIMs in a moment, but when you come here in the more info, you can see on these plans like how much data it includes, whether it has a local phone number. This one shows you that This plan in Japan doesn't come with a local phone number, but if we go back and look at the UK ones, you can see that these UK plans down here do include a local phone number, which is really nice if you're trying to make like restaurant reservations in that local destination. And if you do want to get an eSIM from SimLocal, oh, there's one more thing that I want to mention. It's not just for one country. They also have multi-country plans. And so if we go back to the main page right here, you can see multi-destination. You can get Europe ones, global ones, Caribbean ones, Asia ones. I got a plan that worked in Malaysia and worked in Taiwan. It was the same eSIM that worked between the two countries. And so that was easy picking one of these global plans. And if you wonder, Chris, is this just a fly-by-night operation? It's not. They've actually got some physical stores around the world too. Now, if you're like, Chris, that sounds really great, to make it even sweeter, if you do want to buy an eSIM from SimLocal, you can get 10% off with the coupon code YELLOW right here. And you can go there by going to simlocal.com, or you can scan that QR code right here. And if you buy one from there, it also, a small percentage of that purchase goes to help support the channel, which I really appreciate. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next tip, which is tip number 14. But before I do that, I want to go ahead and check out some of the comments on the chat of the live stream. Brandon says, I'm glad I can do eSIM because I can't do physical SIM cards anymore. I told you I was going to show the eSIM compatible phones. So let me make sure I do that right here. On SimLocal's website, they have this in help. You can go to eSIM compatible phones, and then you can scroll down here, and it's got a list of like all these phones that are eSIM compatible. So many of them are, but like just make sure yours is on this list before you go ahead and buy one. Okay. Let's see. Alex says, would you give a shout out to my brother Andrew? Hi, Andrew, Alex's brother. Free Joseph says, Chris, longtime follower here. Do you recommend to pay to get in airport lounges in Doha? I've never been to Doha, Free Joseph. So, but if you have a long connection, probably worthwhile to get into the lounges. By the way, if you are enjoying this video, Grant suggests please hit the like button. It really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. Lets YouTube know you're enjoying the video so they can spread to more people. Thank you so much. And then related to eSIMs, Nick Weaver says eSIMs are an absolute game changer. Recently in Canada and US, used one all the time. So good. Final note about eSIMs, a question I get all the time is, this isn't whether just you're using a SimLocal eSIM, any eSIM, people often ask, Chris, if you're using an eSIM, do you have issues then getting your like local text so that you can get on your bank account or you can get on things that have two-factor authentication? On most modern phones, you can actually have multiple eSIMs active, and you can have one set as primary and have one set as secondary. And so in this case, I have T-Mobile, which does include international data, but it's really slow. It's like really dog slow. And so when I'm traveling, I will set the eSIM that I bought from SimLocal as primary, and then I will set my T-Mobile SIM as secondary, so I still get the texts on T-Mobile from my local phone number in the USA. So if I still need that two-factor authentication, I still get that to that, but I get the data going over the primary eSIM, which is the one that has the high-speed bandwidth of the country that I am in. Let's see. Points Traveler says, can you use eSIM to somehow get calls over Wi-Fi going, or can you not make phone calls at all while you're using the eSIM? I don't think you can do Wi-Fi call, like, you can do Wi-Fi calling just having Wi-Fi, but I don't think you can do Wi-Fi calling on your primary SIM. So like if you had T-Mobile and then you got an eSIM in the UK, I don't think you can do a T-Mobile Wi-Fi call over the eSIM. Like you'd have to do the Wi-Fi call over the, like a Wi-Fi network that you were connected to. That being said, I've actually never tried it. I've never tried it from my local phone to do a Wi-Fi call from an international destination. Before using eSIMs like that to make calls, I would generally use Skype. If this case, even if I was in Japan or something like that, I would use Skype. Skype's going away, but I guess that's going to become Teams in a moment. If you have like they're going to move Skype to Teams. So when that happens, it's supposed to happen at the end of May, I'll probably make a whole video about making calls if all you have is data in a foreign country. Okay, let's go onwards. Oh, I'm thirsty. We'll go onwards to the tips. What is Chris drinking today? Chris today is drinking a sea salt jasmine cream tea from 7 Leaves Tea. We have a thing here that says, be the change you wish in the world. All right, thank you. 7 Leaves Tea. Nick says, WhatsApp for that. Nick, can you like dial out on WhatsApp? Can you dial a phone number out on WhatsApp? I know you can call other people that have WhatsApp, but can you use WhatsApp to actually, like, if you need to call United Airlines customer service, can you use WhatsApp to call a number that's not registered to WhatsApp? And Carmen says, Microsoft bought Skype. Yes, Microsoft bought Skype. All right. Okay, this tip right here. Tip number 14 to help you have a perfect trip is to pack some universal power adapters and also a power bank. I can't tell you how many times I've been to a foreign country and had the wrong adapter. What was the recent one? I don't know. I was in a country recently and I was like, this adapter that I thought I would have is not the adapter for this country. I was sad. I had to go buy another one while I was at the destination. So it's worthwhile just to maybe not like to actually research what you think it's going to be, so that you actually have the right. All these countries use these different things. You want to be able to plug in your stuff. And again, I can share it from personal experience of not have done it appropriately recently. Also, having a battery power bank. I always in my sling bag carry a USB 10,000 milliamp Samsung battery pack so that I can keep my phone charged on the go. Being on travel in a foreign destination, you'll be spending a lot more time looking at Google Maps, spending a lot more time reading things, looking things up, taking pictures, shooting video. Really drains the battery, so it's helpful not to just have to go plug your phone into like a McDonald's or something to charge in the middle of the day, but have some juice to help you top up as you go. Tip number 15 is to pack light and to carry on if possible. Again, I break these rules, but you are more likely to have your bag when you get to today's destination if you've carried it on and put it in the overhead. If you've checked it in, there is some non-zero chance that your luggage will be lost. And if your luggage is lost, you're going to have a big hassle at that point to find your luggage again or get reunited with it, which is just going to take time away from the enjoyment of your trip. Suitcases, definitely get yourself a suitcase that has some good wheels. I happen to like 4-wheel suitcases. Makes them easy if you're carrying them on to go down the aisle of the airplane. Makes them easy to pull around. You get a little bit more space if you only have 2 wheels, but personally, I don't think that little added space is worth the loss in flexibility. If I'm carrying a lot of stuff, I often like to do something like this, where I'll have a bag and then a duffel or something that I can stack on top of it. That way they can all sort of move together. Tip number 16 for a perfect trip is to roll your clothes. If you have like t-shirts and things like that, is to roll them. I like to roll them like that. You can say how I pack right there. Also to invest in some packing cubes. If I'm going for a very long trip, then I will pack different things in packing cubes so it's easy to tell. I do it in a couple different ways. Sometimes I might like, this packing cube just has underwear and this packing cube has shirts and this packing cube has shorts. Or I will pack them so that every cube has a different day's outfit. So that I'm like, this packing cube has socks, underwear, shirts, but tops, but everything's in this that I need for a day. And then everything in this is what I need for the next day. Or if I'm being extra advanced, you can think about this. If you're going to be going to like a few different hotels, is to pack like everything you need for hotel 1 in this packing cube, and then everything you need for hotel 2 in this packing cube, and everything you need in hotel 3 in this packing cube, so you don't have to be rummaging through your stuff a lot. Anyway, I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all program for that, but definitely figure out what is the best thing for you. Tip number 17 is to make a packing list. I am someone who, for me, it's not really needed a packing list, but now that we have a 5-year-old daughter who travels with us, and now we have to take a lot more stuff, we have a packing list of all of her things, all of the kitty things that we'll need, and so we take a look at that list to make sure we've packed everything that the Curious Princess needs for the trip. You can see when you start to travel with kids, you start to add a lot of other things, like you add a stroller and you add a car seat and maybe you add their backpack, and all of a sudden you start to travel with this. I clearly am breaking the rule here of only carry things on. We've not, for our longer trips, we have not been able to do that. Short trips, we can still carry on. When we were going to Santa Cruz recently, the three of us carry on just a couple days there. But when we're going for 3 weeks someplace, we need to pack a lot more in the suitcase. Nick Weaver says, I outsource packing to my lovely wife. Nick, that is very nice of your lovely wife to help you for that. Brandon says, lists are essential to have for a long trip. Paso 101 says, I save the plastic containers that sheets come in and reuse them for packing cubes whenever traveling. That's an interesting tip there, Paso. Let's see. Point Traveler wants to know if I took the trash can with us. Definitely, I bring a trash can wherever I go because you never know when you're going to need to throw something away. The Narrow Road said they recently went to the Big Island in Hawaii a few months ago, did carry-ons only. It was awesome and easy for a destination that doesn't require heavy clothes. Absolutely. It is much easier to carry on if you're going to like a beach destination that you just need some light things. You need some t-shirts, you need some board shorts. At the point that you're going to a cold weather destination, like you're going on a ski or snowboard trip, then you probably have to probably got to pack that stuff because you just need way, way, way more clothes. Nick Weaver says, tip, check car rentals boot space or trunk space to make sure it can fit all your cases if renting a car on your holiday. That's a great tip, Nick. I didn't have it on the list, but I probably should have. And yes, when you rent cars on most of the car rental websites, they will tell you how much luggage fits in there. But that is absolutely something that when we're going to the Big Island, it's going to be 5 of us that are going. And so 5 of us that are going, we need to get the big SUV in order to fit all of us and put all of our suitcases in it at the same time. Okay. Let's go on to tip number 18, which is to pack versatile clothing items. What does that mean? Items that you can mix, match, and layer. If you only have to be one for one every day, you're going to have to do laundry a lot, or you're just not going to make that great use of space. So pick things that you can reuse, tops that you can reuse, over undershirts, pants that you might rewear a couple times, that go with different things so you're not just one outfit a day and all of a sudden you wonder why your bag weighs 100 pounds. For me, my versatile clothing, as you saw in the previous thing, is I just bring yellow shirts because they go with everything. Okay. Tip number 19 is to pack an essential toiletry kit that includes your meds. In this picture right here, or in almost any picture I do of my packed suitcases, you will see I travel with a Jan Sport toiletry kit. It kind of folds into 3 different things. Has a little hook that you can hang it on the shower or a mirror, something like that. And that has all of my travel toiletry and non-prescription medicines that I travel with in it. And so, because there's just a lot of stuff. You need a brush, you need nail clippers, you need deodorant, you need toothpaste, you need sunscreen, you need this, you need that. And instead of having that just be a long list of items that I need to think about every time putting in my suitcase, I just have them all for that travel kit. And at any time I run out of them, on travel, I just buy new ones. I put them in that travel kit. Sometimes if I'm going on a lot of different trips, I'm going on one trip and I'm coming back home for a day and I'm going on another trip, I will pack my next suitcase for the next trip. And then when I come home the previous night, the one thing I will move, it's all full of dirty clothes, the one thing I will move is I will move that toiletry kit from the suitcase it came back from to the next suitcase. Well, that and the toothbrush, the toiletry kit and the toothbrush. I like electric toothbrushes. I find they keep my teeth cleaner, so I travel with this Philips USB-C chargeable toothbrush. Art suggests packing non-iron clothes like athletic leisure wear. That's a great tip, Art. It's a drag to be ironing in hotel rooms. So thank you for that. Jason says, my wife has a packing list she keeps in her suitcase, so when we get ready to travel, she just packs by the list so she doesn't forget anything. Hey, and keep that in the suitcase. That's great too. Danielle says, always check the drawers in the hotel room before checking out if a traveler that unpacks and puts things in the drawers. That's a great tip, Danielle. Whenever we leave a hotel room, we always do like a final room check to just like run around and be like, we got everything here, 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 here. And yes, drawers, you know, just pull those all open. And then you can see like, all right, there's nothing in any of my drawers. There's nothing on any of the surfaces. That'll give you a 95% confidence that you haven't left something behind. Okay, tip number 20 is when you're packing, leave some space or bring a folding duffel bag if you're buying extra stuff. If you're planning to buy extra stuff, make sure you've got space to actually put that extra stuff in. And I feel like even just leaving a little extra space, when you've packed everything perfectly, leaving home and it's all nicely folded and all this stuff, as you go about your travels, things are probably going to become less nicely folded and they're just going to take more space. But we will often carry that duffel bag, something like this, fold it up in one of our bags so that then when we come home, we can unfold that and have more space to put what? Our dirty clothes. Our dirty clothes is what go in the duffel bag, and then any valuable souvenirs, those actually go in the hard side suitcases that you saw before, so they get more protection. If this thing with our dirty clothes gets chewed up or ripped by the by the baggage carousel, we don't care as much because it's at the end of the trip, and again, it's just full of a bunch of dirty socks and underwear. Okay. Now let's talk about tips for being in the airport and tips for flying for a perfect tip. Before we do that, 2 more comments. Brandon says room checks can get pretty hectic if you're rushing and you're getting out. Sometimes it can. You're right. Danielle says when she irons, she likes to spread a towel on top of the dresser and iron. All right, thank you for that tip, Danielle. That's an interesting one. Larry says, I primarily look to use credit cards, but always have about $100 in case or so for places that don't accept the credit cards. I think that's a great tip, Larry, to always carry some cash with you so that you, like in an emergency, your credit card doesn't work, things like that. You've always got some cash in your currency and always some cash in the local currency too. I totally agree with that tip. Always have some cash in the local currency, even if it's not a lot, just in case you need it. You need to get a taxi in a pinch or something like that. You can pay for it. Free Joseph says, for a duffel, I suggest a North Face Base Camp duffel bag. That thing is indestructible. Thanks for the tip. And Mai says, always check the hotel safe before you go. That Mai almost left without their passport. Oh, that would have been a bummer, Mai. So thank you for that tip. Points Traveler says, what do you do with leftover cash when you leave a country? If it's not a lot, I just kind of try to spend it at the airport. And if it's more than that and I can't spend it at the airport, I just keep it. I just generally have a theory to be like, well, I'll probably be back. In that case, I keep it and I put it in a Ziploc bag. The bill and the coins all together. And then if I'm going to that place again, then I've got the currency. It certainly works well for places I go to a lot. Japan, Taiwan, the UK, the EU, Canada. I'm always using those currencies. And so I never feel like I need to spend all of them on my way out. Nick Weaver says we have 3 kids. There is never leftover cash. Ha, 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 ha. Okay, airport. Tip number 21 is to check in online before you go to the airport. Save yourself some time. Usually if you check in online, you can go through some other quicker check-in route. It doesn't work all the time, but worthwhile to do. Tip number 22 is to arrive at the airport appropriately early. What is appropriately early? Depends. Depends where you are. Depends how you're traveling. But you know what? One of the ways to really not have a perfect trip is if you are running through the airport like you're running a mad dash because you are super late for your flight and then you trip over something or you hurt your back. Like rushing sucks the fun out of your trip. So don't stress yourself out. Factor in security times that can be long. Factor in traffic times that can be long. And get there ahead of time. When I was flying from, I guess this is early. Why did I pick this picture? Because I was in Taipei, Taoyuan International Airport at 5:59 in the morning. That's early. That's early. But when I was flying from Kuala Lumpur to Taipei recently, Malaysia Airlines sent an email, said, since you're in like the New Year's travel, we recommend getting to the airport 4 hours early. And then I'm like, 4 hours early? So I went to the hotel concierge and I was like, I got this email. What do you think, 4 hours early? They're like, well, what time's your flight? And I'm like, it's at 9 in the morning. And they're like, seriously, you don't need to get to the airport at 5 in the morning. You get to the airport at like 6:30. There's still no flights going that early. You'll be fine, which is what I did, and they were right. So it absolutely helps to have some local knowledge, but figure it out and give yourself some time. Me at my local airport, when I fly out of John Wayne Orange County Airport, my local airport, I'm usually getting to that airport 45 minutes before the flight departs, which is 15 minutes before it boards. And it is the kind of airport that I can go from my car through security to the gate in 15 minutes. But, if you're going to LAX airport, for example, oh boy, when I was flying to Kuala Lumpur, there was an incident where they had closed the road in front of LAX. The rental car shuttle bus had to drop us off outside of the airport, and we had to walk into the airport. The security lines were out of control. Like, that whole fiasco of just like getting to LAX from dropping off my rental car to like past security was like 3 hours. So I'm really glad I had planned quite a bit of time for that LAX arrival. But I knew that like holiday travel, midnight international travel, those are all the busy times at LAX, and so I had built in a bunch of buffer time and was not stressed out. Tip number 23 is to know the liquids and security rules at your destination and connecting airports. They're sort of like always changing. Know what you can have in your carry-on, know what you can have in your check-in. If you're going within the US or connecting to the US, it's more strict. If you're, say, traveling within Japan, it might be less strict because they don't have to have those same security restrictions. But it's really a drag to get your items confiscated when you go through security, or just even a waste of time to have your items pulled out and go through secondary inspection. Tip number 24 is to bring a reusable water bottle. Water, it's such a scam. The fact that you can't bring water through, because they're a bomb, because they just haven't invested in the scanning tech to be like, oh, it's water. Some countries they have, but most they haven't. And so I like to bring just an empty water bottle with me through and then fill it up in the drinking fountains or the water bottle fillers. Why did I put this picture in? This is the, because there's a Coke can that has my name on it. But two, if you go to Disneyland and you go to Galaxy's Edge, this is the bottle the Coke comes in, which I thought's really cool. So that's a cool bottle. It doesn't really fit in my backpack bottle holder, but it's an empty bottle nonetheless. Fu Moon gives a tip of don't drink alcohol at the airport. It's expensive at the airport. It dehydrates you. So yes, it is better not to. Alex says don't take weed into Russia or Singapore. A lot of destinations where drugs like marijuana are no bueno, not good. Also, there are many destinations, Singapore included, that if you have ingested marijuana recently and they find it in your system, they consider that the same level as drug trafficking. So traveling internationally, it's probably worthwhile to cleanse yourself of those substances that may be illegal in the destination. Tristan says, airport water bottles are always expensive, usually $4 minimum. They are always expensive. You are right. Okay. Smash the Numbers says, I get there early now because I have the credit card to get in the lounges. Also, I do bring a little plastic box to put food in there for the flight, at least for fruits, nuts, etc. Great tip. Helps for arrivals at the airport if you've got lounge access, much more comfortable place to stay. And it does also help to be like, I've got a way that I can take some snacks on the plane. And that way you avoid spending $10 on the plane for the really cheap snack box. If you don't have a little plastic box, you can bring a Ziploc bag. We always travel with a few Ziploc baggies in our carry-ons. Tip number 25 is to dress comfortably for your flight. I've included 2 pictures of here, me on the airplane and me not on the airplane. Just if people ever wonder, does Chris ever dress up? Chris can dress up. But if I have to wear this at my destination, I am not wearing this on the plane. This is not comfortable at all. So this is what I'm typically wearing on the plane. Sometimes I'm wearing yellow, and it's just because maybe I'm doing a airplane review and I want to take a thumbnail or something like that. But if I'm not, then I'm typically wearing a black shirt so that it's not reflective in the in-flight entertainment. And then I typically have some thin long sleeve shirt in my carry-on backpack so that if there's a lot of airflow coming down or it's kind of cold, I can take that long sleeve shirt out of there and wear it. No big deal. This is a bamboo shirt by Caraloha, and this is a long sleeve shirt by Ex Officio, in case you're wondering. And this is a suit from, I don't know, probably the Burlington Coat Factory or something like that. When they used to be called the Burlington Coat Factory, now they're just Burlington, I think. Okay. Art gives a tip, wear slippers on the plane. Yeah, bare feet. Don't have bare feet or bare socks if you're walking around the plane. If they've got slippers, wear those. Definitely, it is more comfortable to take your shoes off on long flights, but I would definitely avoid going to the bathroom in shoes. Hey, Kathy was able to join. Good to see you, Kathy. Kathy always gets to the airport early. Good point here from Tristan. Tristan says some planes' air conditioners are powerful. Wearing shorts can be uncomfortable. I rarely wear shorts on the plane. I will only wear shorts on the plane if I'm on short flights. Like if I'm flying from Los Angeles to Las Vegas, it's an hour flight, it's 2 hot destinations, I'll wear shorts. But if I'm going 14 hours to Australia or Singapore, I'm always going to have pants because those flights are likely going to be a lot colder. Or if I get cold, I just can't warm up. But for an hour from LA to Vegas, I can be cold for a little bit, and it's not so big of a deal. Alex says bare feet on a plane is an unforgivable sin. Mai says, I'm always freezing cold on long haul planes. Any tips? Bring jackets. Bring a blanket. Those are my tips. Brooklyn Joe says, I froze on the plane today. Couldn't wait to get into the Phoenix heat. Yeah, Phoenix is a nice place to thaw out if it is cold on the plane. Jason says, we have the foldable 1 liter water bottle for long flights and put electrolytes in one and water in the second one. Great tip, Jason. I will always say, bring more water than you think you need on the flight because you never know when your 1 hour flight is going to turn into 5 hours on the tarmac waiting to take off or waiting to land, and then you really wished you had some hydration. Speaking of hydration, I am thirsty. Okay, tip number 26 is to bring some noise-canceling headphones. If you travel a lot on airplanes, these things are a complete game changer for the airplane ride. Like if you're like, I can't hear the movie, I can't understand, these people are too loud around me, get yourself a pair of noise-canceling headphones, and all of a sudden, all that noise and all those people just melt away, and you're just like, oh, I can all of a sudden hear the movie again. I really like the Sony 4s. I should know the model number, like the XM4s or something like that. There's like an XM5 that's the newest one. This is one generation back from that. I like them because they fold up nice and small. The newer ones I don't think quite fold up the same way. Okay. Tip number 27, to combat jet lag in your destination. Hydrate while you're on the plane. Make sure you drink plenty of liquids. Adjust your sleep schedule gradually before you leave. Start going to bed an hour earlier, an hour later, depending upon which one you're going, a few days before. And then when you get to your destination, get sunlight and some exercise on arrival. This is another reason why I like to arrive at a place in the daytime, check into the hotel, say around 4, go walk for just a couple hours to get outside, get some sunlight, get some fresh air, get an early dinner, and then go to sleep. I always try to stay up at the destination until 7 p.m., something like that, because if you go to bed too early or you take that midday nap, it's not gonna help you ease into that. What's this picture? This picture is at the beach in Sydney. The shark sighted, but boy, I look tired in that picture, didn't I? Yeah, tired. Okay. Brooklyn Joe says, if you not hit the like button, please do so. And Joy says, don't make me come over there and hit that like button for you. All right, you heard Joe. He's gonna, if you don't hit it, he's gonna come over there and hit it for you. Thank you for your support, Joe. Tip number 28 for the airport is to know your carry-on and check bag allowance and also the sizes for them. So often I see people at like the check-in counter, like, oh, all of a sudden they're trying to like consolidate things and unpack things and repack things because they're too heavy or there's too many, or they get to the gate for the airplane and they got like 3 or 4 bags and they're like, you only get 2 bags, and they're like, what do I do? And I don't know. I took this picture because somebody had a bunny. Somebody had a stuffed animal bunny in their suitcase. I thought that was just a really interesting place to travel with their little bunny stuffy. Tip number 29, we heard this one a little bit earlier, but we'll put it right here, which is use airport lounges if you have airport lounge access. Amex, Centurion lounges, pretty nice network of lounges, but they're often really busy. The Chase Sapphire lounges, I like too. They're often busy. I've been really enjoying the Capital One lounges. I've found them to not be overwhelmed yet. I've found the food quality to be pretty high in them, and I've also found that I really like the Capital One lounges have specific to-go offerings that are already packed to go. They'll have sandwiches, nuts, all those things that are just in a section to be like, these are the to-go food offerings. Just come in, grab your stuff to go, take it on the airplane, have a great flight. If you see this picture, this is the Washington Dulles Capitol Lounge. When I was taking this picture, the cool dude behind the desk was like giving me the peace sign. So, all right, thank you, cool dude lounge attendant. And tip number 30 is to be nice to the people in the airport. Be nice to the gate agents. Be nice for the flight attendants. If your flight is delayed or canceled, it's not their fault. If they're standing at a desk in the airport, I guarantee you they are not the ones that made the decision to cancel or delay your flights. The person who did that, or the computer who did that, is somewhere way far away from where you're actually standing. Those people can actually help you. They are more likely to help you if you are actually nice to them rather than if you are rude or sour to them. A little sugar goes a little farther than salt. Okay, now I want to talk about some tips for accommodation and getting around. Before I do that, we'll hit a few more comments. Josephus agrees, don't yell at the flight crew. It's not going to help you. Let's see, Josephus asked if it's worth paying for the airport lounge, and there was generally some chatter, which is usually not worth it. Okay, and I guess the sugar goes further than salt is what Rig Rental's mom says. All right, very good. And Deli Belly says, hi, going back to work. Hi, Deli Belly. Smash the numbers. Says part of the JFK airport lounge is outdoors. Amazing experience there. There's which brand? Which chain? The Capital One at JFK? Like which one? Let us know. Okay. All right. We're going to go to numbers now. And we're going to go to numbers. This number, 31. We're going to go to this, 31. All right. So tip number 31, when you're booking hotels, accommodation, Airbnbs, location, location, location. The most important thing. Location, location, location. And what kind of location? Close. City center. It is worth paying a premium to have your hotel in the city center. I mean, within reason, right? But you absolutely need to balance the cost of transport into the city or to your attractions and also the time that it's going to take you. It's really nice to have the hotel in the city center that you can just walk to attractions, that you can come back to midday to put stuff back, that you can come back to midday to change, that you can come back to midday to take a nap if you're really that tired. And I get, this probably becomes an arc in things, but, we have certainly stayed more of the outskirts when we first started our travel adventure as O-Seeker and I 20 years ago, and we've quickly found out that the money that we saved was just not worth it in time spent because we've spent thousands of dollars to get us to this destination, and we just can't do as many things when our hotel is so far away. Boop. The 30-second tip to have a perfect trip is to confirm the check-in and check-out times of your hotel because it doesn't do you much good to try to get there and check in at 9 a.m. if your room's not going to be ready. plan your arrival and departure days so that they coincide with that, right? And if you have a trip where you're checking in and out of multiple hotels, plan those days accordingly. So, you might even find it worthwhile at certain hotels to pay for a late checkout and early check-in so that can help with your journey. If you have elite status in various hotel chains, you might get late checkout in places. And so if we're at some international destination and we've got a late flight, say like 7 p.m., 8 p.m., it really helps if we're staying at a Marriott where we get 4 p.m. late checkout because of my Marriott status. So think about that. Or, there's different things you can book to do that. Again, sometimes you can pay for it. So factor that in. Tip number 33 is to learn the local public transport. Often the local public transport, trains, buses, subways, cable cars, whatever, often is the cheapest and the most efficient way to get around. Find out if you need to buy a card to get on it. Find out if they take money. Find out if you can tap your credit card. Learn how to take it before you get there so that you're not standing at the station going like, I don't understand any of this stuff in the language that I'm looking at. Tip number 34 is to understand the taxis or the ride shares, the wheeled vehicles that'll take you around that aren't public transportation. Different countries have different ride apps. Uber doesn't operate around the world. If you're in many parts of Asia, it's Grab. If you're in Japan, it's the Go Taxi app. If you're in Guam, they've got their whole little app for Guam. Even though it's part of the USA, you won't find Uber there. Download that app before you go. See if you can set it up before you go. Accounts, password, credit cards, so that when you're there and you need a taxi or you need a ride share, you can just go ahead and call it right away. Tip number 35 is to walk when you're in your destination. I like when I get a hotel, particularly if it's in the city, just to plan some time on the first day to explore the neighborhood around the hotel. Not to go anywhere, not take any transit, just plan in some unplanned walking time. I wonder what's around here because you never know what you're going to find. The last time that I was in Tokyo, I was staying at the ANA Intercontinental Hotel in Tokyo. And, just in my first day of my arrival day of planned exploration time, I get a local map, I pull up Google Maps. I'm like, oh, this hotel is like a 5 or 10 minute walk away from the Hiei Shrine, which is this famous shrine in Tokyo that has all these red torii gates, like 100 red torii gates up this staircase. I've never been to this shrine because it's in what I was considered to be an inconvenient part of Tokyo, really, to get to. It's not near any of the other big tourist attractions, and it just so happened I was staying at that hotel that was near it. So, and I looked like, what should I do around here? Oh, let's go walk over to that shrine. That's pretty cool. And then from there, let's go walk over to the Imperial Palace. There was so much fun stuff just walking around that I did without planning it. And I never would have taken a subway or taxi to those places because it just wouldn't have made any sense at all. Okay. Tip number 36 is to print out the address, map, and picture of your hotel in the local language. If you're going to Japan and you print out your stuff in English, not going to be super useful to show to locals that don't understand English. The taxi drivers probably don't understand English, and so don't just, maybe you print off the English website for you, but go to the local language website of the hotel or your accommodation and print it out in the local language so that if you're showing it to people that are there, they're like, oh, I understand that because it's in the language that I understand. And Chris, why don't I just keep it on my phone? You can. But if your cell phone service doesn't work, your phone gets locked, you lose it, all those things, what are you going to do? Your printout, the battery's never going to run out on your printout. So for important things, and I consider your hotel that you're getting to be one of those important things to print out. And then the other question is, do you want to hand your phone to the taxi driver up there? Or do you want to hand your phone to other people? Or would you prefer to hand them a piece of paper? For me, I prefer to hand them a piece of paper. They can look at it as long as they want, do whatever they want with it, but I don't really want them. I like to keep my phone. I like my precious. Tip 37. Don't be afraid to ask for directions. Most locals are happy to help in a destination. But do be skeptical of people who come up and try to help you. Yes, there are some helpful people in the world, but people who often proactively offer help are the thieves. Those are the people that want to help you with more than just your destinations or how to use the ticket machines on the subway. They want to help you with your money, your wallet, and your stuff. And by help you, I mean help themselves to your thing. Tip number 38. Now we're going to talk about money and safety, is to use credit cards with no foreign transaction fees. We had a conversation about money earlier, but this is really to put a cap on that. If I can, I try to use credit cards with no foreign transaction fees for the bulk of my purchases. I will then, tip number 39, always get some local currency. For small purchases, tips, transport, where cards aren't accepted, and I always avoid the currency exchange people at the airports. That's where you're gonna pay the highest fees. Tip number 40, where I do always get my money, is from ATMs. And every big international airport is going to have ATMs. They might not be easy to find, but they're going to be there. They'll generally accept international cards. You might have to ask at the airport, like information desk, where they are, but that's the best way to get out international currency. Do avoid the dynamic currency conversion scam. If the ATM says, hey, would you like to take this dynamic currency conversion offer where we'll convert it and we'll offer you this great exchange rate so that then when it's withdrawn from your account, you don't pay a foreign exchange rate. You'll just withdraw in your currency for the privilege of a 42% markup. Don't do it. Just take the withdrawal in the local currency. You might pay a few dollar international currency conversion fee, but it's going to be a better deal for you than it is accepting the ATM's conversion. Tip 41 is to be aware of your surroundings when you're withdrawing from the ATM, when you're in crowded areas, when you're on the subway. Watch your stuff. Keep a hand on your stuff. Just be mindful that because you're on vacation and you're enjoying life, that doesn't mean there's unfortunately no criminals in the world. So unfortunately, many criminals like to prey on unsuspecting tourists. Those people should all get locked up. But they are out there, and if they target you, ruins your vacation. Don't be that person. Be the person who looks a little tougher. Not because you just look angry or pissed off all the time, but like if you got your hand on your wallet or you got your hand on the bag, you look a little bit more thief-proof than perhaps the person who doesn't. In your hotel room, definitely think about securing your valuables. Use the hotel safe. Hide them someplace deep in your suitcase, but don't flash cash and expensive items. If you've got a fancy expensive laptop, don't leave it out on the desk. Pack it away someplace just to not make it a tempting thing for people to know that they can steal. Tip 43, share your itinerary with someone back home and check in periodically. Send a picture, let them know how you're doing. I would recommend, people often ask me like, Chris, where are you right now? There's a reason why I typically don't share my itinerary in real time. I let you know where I am afterwards. It just helps me a little bit with my personal safety. Tip 44 is to research the local scams. So there's crime, but there's also scams. And, you know, I've definitely made a bunch of videos on scams in Thailand, scams in Las Vegas, scams in various places. But what, like in Thailand, one of the popular scams is the temple is closed scam. What is this scam? At the main temple in Thailand, people stand in front of it to tell you the temple is closed. And they've got a great place that you can go instead, that they get kickbacks for taking tourists to. The temple isn't closed. It's open. In Las Vegas, it's the pictures with the showgirls. People think the pictures with the showgirls are free. They must work for the hotel. You take a picture with them, and then they tell you that picture is $50. Tip 45, trust your gut. If you're in a place and things feel sketchy, the situation feels off, leave, bail, don't stay. Bar feels sketchy, things are not getting weird, get out of there. Get out of there before things turn ugly. Tip 46 is to... We're coming into the final 5 right here. It's to talk about food culture and enjoyment. So tip 46, eating food is to eat local. Try the street food carefully. Carefully. Depends where you are. Ask the hotel staff for recommendations that are away from the tourist traps. I love food, and so if I'm in like Singapore, like the food at the hawker centers, super great, super clean. You can see it being made. Taiwan, same way. Japan, same way. If I'm in other places, you know, I might be like, if I'm in Bangkok, The food on the street, the cleanliness leaves a little bit to be desired, and so in that case, I'm going to enjoy the street food in the food courts of the shopping malls, but it's still the local food, it's still the quick food. It's going to be more expensive, it's also going to be air conditioned, which is nice, but definitely enjoy the local food. Be careful. I always carry like Pepto-Bismol and some anti-diarrheals with me, just in case, because you never know what's going to happen, and it's useful to have that stuff just on you, so you don't need to go buy it if that strikes while you're out and about, or if you're out in the hotel. Tip number 47 is to respect the local customs and etiquette, dress codes, photography rules, tipping culture. Do you tip? Do you not tip? Where is it cool to take a photo? And dress codes, if you're going to a place with like temples and things like that. Can you wear shorts? Can you not wear shorts? Can you have bare shoulders? Can you not have bare shoulders? It's not your country, so it's worthwhile to look up those social norms. Tip 48 is to allow for spontaneity and getting lost. Back in my have a loose plan, sometimes I find the best discoveries are unplanned. So allow yourself some time, that if you see an interesting thing, to just be able to go that way and to check it out, and you don't have such a planned thing of the top tier attractions that you can't sit down at that cafe that looks like it has an interesting Paris sidewalk coffee and baguette. Tip number 49 is to stay hydrated and to use sunscreen. So tempting to not buy the €8 bottle of water in Paris or the $10 bottle of water at Disneyland. But if you're thirsty and it's hot, just buy it. Just suck it up. I mean, look, try to find something cheaper. But if there's nothing cheap around, just pay for it. Because if you don't pay for it and you get dehydrated and you get heat stroke, you're not going to enjoy the next 3 days of your vacation while you're recovering from all of that. Sunscreen, super important. When you're traveling, you're often outside a lot more because you're just exploring things than you are when you're at home. Sit in front of your computer, sit in front of your monitors, whatever, sit in front of your phone, whatever it is you do on a daily basis. Boy, and if you're at like a beach destination, worst thing to do is to get a sunburn to a crisp on your first day and then just have it be painful in the sun for the next day. So make sure you use your sunscreen. Put on your sunscreen before you go to the beach. By the time you've gotten to the beach, you're already halfway to burned. Put that sunscreen on before you've left your hotel room. This is from somebody who grew up in San Diego on the beach. I see so many people getting to the beach and then putting their sunscreen on at the hotel. And if not at the hotel, in your car before you get on to the sand. Oh, and if you're going in the water, you need to reapply your sunscreen. Tip 50. Be present and enjoy the moment. Enjoy your destination. Put down your phone. Get rid of social media. Enjoy where you are. Unless you're watching a Yellow Productions video. You can do that all you want because you'll be looking at your destination about what it is that you should do. But man, catching up on your friend's Instagram feed or scrolling TikTok, like, you can do that at home. Don't be wasting your money on your hotel and your flights and all those things to do that stuff that you can do just at home. Well, I have one final tip, bonus tip 51. My numbers only go to 50. Bonus tip 51 was from Molecular Cloud, fellow explorer who posted this on my announcement of this stream, and I said I would include it. He said one tip, he or she, I actually don't know, Molecular Cloud. One tip I have, which I've never seen any travel YouTubers mention, is to start watching the local news in the destination you're planning to travel to at least 3 months out. Just a little bit from time to time. This is a very easy thing to do in today's world of streaming. You'll be surprised at how much insight and understanding you gain into the vibe of your destination. And this, to me, is one of the best forms of research. It also helps keep you informed of any issues that can impact you while you're there. Locals are often blown away when I can effectively hold a conversation with them about current issues relevant to them. All right, well, those are 51 tips to help you plan your perfect trip. Fellow explorers, if I've missed your favorite tip, what is it? Drop it in the live stream chat, drop it in the archive chat, and now it's time for Q&A.
Fellow explorers, it is now Q&A time. If you've got a question, I've got an answer.
Paso 101 says, thanks, Chris, for another great video. Thank you so much, Paso 101. The Wu-Tang Life says, use bug spray. Seen so many people with mosquito bites. That is a super good tip, Wu-Tang Life. Yes, mosquitoes can be fierce. James says, tip 52, watch Yellow Productions. That is a good one, James. Points Traveler says, what's one country you haven't been to that you would like to visit in the future? I would like to visit Greenland before they become the next U.S. state. Okay, that was funny. Greenland, Scotland, Finland, lots of lands that are on my list right now. Kathy says 51 tips. I'll have to watch the archive. Good news is it'll be there for you. Soham says, is Brazil on your travel list in the near future? Not in the near future, but meaning because I haven't booked any flights to it. No, I've only got 2 in the near future right now, which is Hawaii, Big Island, and Japan that are planned. More will be planned, but Brazil is definitely on my list of places I would like to go to. Can I call it Brazil land, just so it fits in with all my lands that I want to go to? Valerian asked if I've been to Africa. I have not yet been to Africa, and I don't think that the Disney Animal Kingdom Lodge at Disney World counts. Does it? I don't think so. Okay. Nick says, pack a raincoat when traveling to Scotland. I almost nearly pack an umbrella almost everywhere I go. But yes, if you're going to someplace rainy, an umbrella and a raincoat, super useful. Witty says, I'm heading to China. Any tips? I got a Beijing series. If you're going to Beijing, check out Yellow Productions Beijing. Joe says, do you want to visit Area 51? I definitely want to see where the aliens are, Joe. Yeah, that's right. And I want to see if they ask me to take them to my leader. Smash the Numbers says, come visit Detroit. Worth it. All right, thanks for the tip. I've not yet been to Detroit. Tristan says, is Tijuana worth visiting or is it too dangerous? I don't really visit Tijuana. Like, I grew up in San Diego, live in Orange County, not that far. Tijuana is this really kind of like weird border town. And so I feel like if you want to visit Mexico from like San Diego, then I would go further down into Ensenada. Ensenada feels like, even though it's a big cruise town, to me, Ensenada feels much more of a homey Mexican town rather than Tijuana. People always do this to be like, Chris, Tijuana, what is that? That is my gringo English. Yes. I would like to get a taco to have in Tijuana. Right, thank you. Somebody's going to comment on that. Grant asked if I plan on going to Orlando for Epic Universe. It's one of those where, like, I know it's like big, expansion at Universal Florida, because we live in like theme park capital of the world in Southern California. We tend not to go to Orlando all that often, but at some point when we take the Curious Princess for her big Disney World adventure, then we'll probably do the big Universal adventure too. Alex says Universal Studios Florida is greater than Disney World properties. Fight me. I will leave that to all y'all to fight Alex. Jonathan Yip says, how about road trips from OC to the San Francisco Bay Area and across California? John, great suggestion. What I am planning for next week's live stream, I've not written it, but the topic that I was going to do was essentially like California road trip guide, Los Angeles to San Francisco. And it'll probably extend down to San Diego too. Jonathan, tune in next week, and I think that content should hopefully satisfy you. Soham says, I just realized this question box looks like something you'd find in Mario. That's my Mario theme for those. All right. For those in the know. Gene says, will I be going to the Osaka World Expo? We have no immediate plans to. When we go to Japan on our next trip, we're going to Sendai. And then Tokyo. Tokyo and Sendai. We will be going to Tokyo Disney Sea as part of that adventure. Pearly, Texas asks if I've ever visited the Black Hills. Not yet. Should I? Tristan says, what is your favorite podcast to listen to on a long trip? I've really been enjoying A Diary of a CEO recently. In the YouTuber space, I also really enjoy Colin and Samir. They spend a lot of time talking about the creator economy. Brandon says, I will enjoy the live stream next week. I look forward to seeing you next week. Lucas says, do you have any tips for my first cruise? We've only been on, 2-ish cruises. We've made a video on a Disney cruise. So if you're going on a Disney cruise, search for the Yellow Productions Disney cruise video. But if it's a different one, I don't know that I have any tips for you. Free Joseph says, with all your traveling, did you learn any new language? I mean, I would say that like Japan, I don't know that I've learned like Japanese, but I can definitely order like a biru, that's a beer, or mizu, that's water, or gyoza, those are pot stickers. You know, going to Taiwan or China, 我会说, I speak a little bit of 中国. My brain is no longer working at the end of the day, so. Okay, but that's what happens at the end of a live stream. Like you're like, okay. So now that I've done the, you know what time it is?
Yes, it's the time you've been waiting for. It's time for the giveaway.
我会说一点中文. There we go. Thank you. Okay. All right. That's I speak a little bit of Chinese. Thank you. Okay, so what is our question today? My question to you today is, what animals were in the first picture that I showed on this live stream? If you can tell me what those 2 animals were in that first picture on the live stream, you will win what? You will win a Yellow Productions crew shipped anywhere in the world to you. And if you didn't win one, then what can you do? Then you can buy one from the Yellow Productions shop. That is going to be right here. And if you're like, Chris, when is the next live stream? I told you we'll have one next week. But if you want to know what day and what time, follow me on the Yellow Productions update. That's my mailing list right there. And if you want to get 10% off your Sim Local purchase, there's a pinned comment in the chat of the live stream. It's also in the description of the video. And you can also hit this QR code right here to go ahead and get 10% off your eSIM purchase at Sim Local, the sponsor of today's video. All right, let's look and see who our winner is. All right, so this is how we do it. These are the filtered comments from the chat right here. Here, let's make this box go away. Okay, filtered comments from the chat. The bottom is the most recent one, filtered for lion. Heaven knows, congratulations, you are the first person to put lion and panda in the chat. And you know what? I'll be generous today. Aaron, you're also going to win panda and a lion. What was that picture of the first one in the chat? It was right here. It was the Lion Head Shrine along with the OG Topher in Osaka, Japan. For my 2 winners that we get Heaven Knows right there. And we get Aaron. Please send me an email, chris@yellow-productions.com. You'll find that in the description. Let me know your address, size shirt. I will get that headed out right to you. Well, fellow explorers, pleasure hanging out with you all today. As usual, I won't say goodbye because I'm going to see you in the next video.